Hello, here it's a small tutorial about how you can create your own plugin. This tutorial it will be a very short one and it will say to you every step that you will have to do to create your own plugin that it will create a custom shape. Here it will be a simple line and this custom line it will be added as a button and also it will do all the handling in between. Okay, so let's start with what you will have to do. Firstly, you will have to create a class library that will have support of VPF. Why? Because you will have to add a ribbon button. So just if you use Visual Studio, you will have to pick like add new project, and in this add new project you will have a library with user controls of Windows Presentation Foundation, and you'll pick a proper name for it. Also, you will have to be sure that the folder that it creates all the shapes, all the assembly, it will be in the same folder with bin debug. If not, you will have to copy it. So in our case, this 2-point line plugin, it will you will go to project properties, you'll go to build, here it's in Spanish, and you will have to set up the path to be in the folder of NaroCAD application. So for the example, for release it will be // // bin release and so on. Okay, to in this way NaroCAD can find it, and you can extend the NaroCAD with it. After this, you will have to go to the folder. In my case, it's in bin debug folder because this is a debug build, and you'll have to add the name of the library without .dll. In this way, NaroCAD will try to launch it. Okay, so we said that we will have to extend two things. We have to extend the shapes with one more function. This will be a 2-point line function. Let's go to it. When you will say this code, you will have to implement a function-based class, and for this function-based class you'll have to give a name that it will be unique, and you'll have to implement two things. In constructor you'll have to say your function which dependency does it has, like in our case a line will have 2 points. The code is fairly straightforward, and on execute you'll have to write an open cascade code that will set up a topo ds shape code, and will set up based on those things that you will get. Like you will get 2 points, so here it's point 0 and point 1, first point and second point. You will say that a line cannot be defined if the points are in the same place, but if they are not, you can create a edge, a wire, and after this will say that your shape is this wire, and you say true that you succeed. And after this you will have to register it in a visual way, and in modifier register you will write your visual code, and this it will consist in 2 parts. You will have to set up the button. It's under the method register UI. Let's hide just for simplicity to be easier. So you will get a UI builder, which is a fairly long code, but you'll take it as is, copy paste to say such. And in this UI builder you will add a ribbon button, which will be under ribbon modeling sketch, and you'll put a name, but you can put on other paths. So let's put it here, and this, it will be a XAML button having implementing a ribbon button mapping. Ignore those, please ignore these errors, but you see that here it's written something about cursor. Let's name it 2-point line, because it also this 2-point line we will try to copy here, 2-point line, paste it on plugin. Okay, and in this way we will have a button that it's really interesting, that it's separated from the code that it will use, and with it we will have to define a custom action, which in each constructor we will have to put a name, a unique name. We will name it, for our example, 2-point line action. So let's see where is it and how is it. So 2-point line action, and we want to make it as a meta action, because meta actions are very short to be written. Do you remember that we were defining a function with this unique name? So in our meta action we will say like we have to fill the dependencies, and we will say simply that function name. It's the name of the function we said previously and we're set, and from modify register we will say this is the name of the action that when we click on the button, let's look a little, when you click on the button is the same title. This is a command line shortcut, so we can say line 2p for to have a shortcut, and the meta action name. And let's see how it runs. So we will start our project. It will think a little, but just to see what's about. Okay, so this is NaroCAD. We have a 2-point line, it is set here. Okay, we will click, we create this line as it seems, and I said that we can enable also from line 2p. Okay, and it's again 2-point line function. Okay, this is how you can create fairly easy a plugin, and this sample will be in the default distribution of NaroCAD, so you can change and extend as you wish. Just the single point is that to enable it you will have to go to the file auto_plugin.naro and enable, because it will be commented like this, and you will have just to delete, to uncomment this plugin, and you will be able to extend and modify to your needs. Okay, that's all.